From downtown Detroit, Local 4 Live starts right now.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us for Local 4 Live. I'm Nick Monticelli. Here's what we have going on today. We're going to start over in Pontiac, where in just a couple of weeks, the city will have a new leader. We're sitting down with both candidates to hear what their plan is if they become the next mayor. And then the temperatures are going down, but the sun might stick around for a little while. Ashley is tracking that and your rivalry weekend forecast. And speaking of cooler temps, before you know it, winter is going to be here. Don't shoot the messenger, not my fault. But you remember that ice storm that you see down there that crippled much of northern Michigan? The state is now giving the DNR more money. How that money could help if another ice storm hits. In your headlines this morning, happening today, a former nurse is heading back to court this afternoon. Wilfredo Figueroa Barrios is accused of attacking two women just months apart. Prosecutors say the first incident happened in a porta potty near Grand Circus Park, where he allegedly tried to rape a woman but was not in a relationship with. 3 months later, a patient at Sinai Grace Hospital came forward accusing him of attacking her while on the job. He is expected in court at 1 o'clock. We're also expecting new details today about a shooting on Detroit's east side last night. This is video of the scene on Nottingham Road last night near I-94 in Whittier. Detroit police say two people were shot, a man in his 40s and a teenager. Both are stable and will be okay. Police are trying to figure out what led up to that shooting. And then happening tonight, Ford Motor Company will shed some light on how it's doing this year. The automaker will release its third quarter earnings after the closing bell. Ford has been doing strong in the market, driven by strong hybrid sales and a steady demand for pickups and SUVs. However, Wall Street projecting its third quarter earnings will be down. We're taking a look at Ford futures right now. It remains unchanged from yesterday's closing numbers. Well, there's a lot of focus this election cycle on the race for the next mayor of Detroit, but there's a long list of other cities that will also be looking for their next leader. One city on that list, Pontiac. The current mayor is running for Congress, looking to fill the U.S. House seat in Michigan's 10th district, vacated by John James, who was running for governor. So in Pontiac, that leaves a seat open for mayor. On the ballot, two candidates with more than a decade of experience. They are Mike McGinnis, he is the current city council president, and Kermit Williams, a former city councilman. Gentlemen, thank you so much for being here. We're calling this a mini debate, kind of a candidates forum, so everyone in Pontiac can have an idea of who you are, what you stand for, and what your goals would be for the city. Obviously, Election Day is a little under 2 weeks away, which scares the heck out of me. That means Christmas is even closer. But I do want to start with the revival of Pontiac. And Mike, I'm going to start with you. The city obviously has gone through an immense amount of turmoil in terms of finances, in terms of crime rates, and a lot more, which we'll get into. But as a overarching theme, what would you like to see happen to bring Pontiac back to the levels of prosperity?
Well, good morning. Thank you for having us. It's great to focus on Pontiac. We're an amazing city with an amazing story. And in this election, the main reason why I'm running is that I want our city to continue moving forward. We have seen growth and revitalization, but we need to pick up the pace and move our city forward faster. So there are a lot of factors that are contributing to that, but as we diversify our tax base, we have more businesses choosing to remain or relocate to Pontiac. It gives us a stronger base to then increase neighborhood services and improve quality of life for residents. So I want to keep that forward momentum and turbocharge it.
Okay, Kermit, same question to you. Pontiac is doing better, but what would you like to see to keep that momentum going?
First, hello, Mom. But one of the things that we're blessed to have happen, when I got on city council, we were under emergency management. The city was in an economic list bankruptcy, and we were able to help guide that ship. I started off when I was 26, gave my hair to the city, and now to see when I left city council, leaving them with $3.5 million for a youth recreation center and $37 million in COVID money. I want to see a people first Pontiac. Detroit has a great revitalization, but people still feel left out. Pontiac has an opportunity to grow our city for the people. Pontiac is the most diverse city in Oakland County, one of the most diverse cities in the whole country, and we want to keep that. This is the place that helped raise me, helped grow me, and now it's an opportunity to bring the next generation up with those same opportunities.
You know, you open a door to a question I was already play on asking is that the city of Pontiac, obviously several miles north of Detroit, you talked about Detroit revitalization. Where do you see, and I'll start with you, Kermit, where do you see Pontiac fitting into the grand scheme of Metro Detroit?
So the great part about Pontiac is we're not Detroit, we're not Southfield, we're not Ferndale. We're a small country city that just happens to be up north. A lot of the people who came through the great revival of Generous Motors at the time, and now they're here. And so what we want to make sure is Pontiac is the city with that southern hospitality up north. The great part about it is our location is off of 75, off of Woodward, off of Telegraph, and Pontiac is really the place to be. One of my mentors, the late Hubert Price, used to say, Pontiac is the center of the universe. And now it's time to bring that back. The great part about it is Pontiac has an opportunity to do something that hasn't been seen in the north, to really have leadership and be a metropolis in a metro city, starting with small businesses. So we did it with GM, and now we have to remake ourselves with entrepreneurs, with small businesses, and being ingenuitive. We have world champion boxers in our city. We've had Grammy Award winning singers in our city, and Pontiac is the place that it needs to happen. One of the things that I'm most proud of is Martin Luther King gave his I Have a Dream speech in Pontiac before he gave it in Detroit. And so we also need to be the thought leader and as far as the moral compass of not only the state, but the country.
Okay.
And Pontiac has that territory.
Same question to you. How do you see Pontiac fitting into the overall Metro Detroit scheme?
We have a very dynamic region, and Pontiac is a jewel, is a diamond in our region. We do need to polish that diamond some, and I'm grateful of all the work that a lot of community members have done to, one, weather difficult times, and now it's about going from just surviving to thriving. My vision is that Pontiac will be the creative capital of Michigan, so not just in our region, but in the state when they're thinking about arts, culture, music, cuisine. That dynamic richness of our history and our culture can be on full display, and it could be an economic driver for the city of Pontiac, where when people think Pontiac, they think of our rich cultural identity, and it's us as a destination, and it has a positive economic impact for our residents. Yeah.
We have a very long list of topics that we're going to be covering here over the next 20 minutes or so that we have left. We are going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to talk about the challenges that Pontiac faces, what's happening with the Phoenix Center, and both of your plans to improve all of those challenges when we come right back. Welcome back, everybody. Again, sitting down with the two mayoral candidates for the city of Pontiac, Kermit Williams and Mike McGinnis, for a kind of mini debate here on a Thursday morning. We're going to talk about crime in the city of Pontiac next, which has been getting better, obviously. But I want to hear your plans, and we'll start with you, Kermit, this time. Your plans to help reduce crime rates in the city, and another kind of in tandem question. The city currently outsources all policing to the Oakland County Sheriff. What are your thoughts on having a Pontiac Police Department instead?
Okay, so I'll take the first part of the question. I'm the vice chair of End Gun Violence Michigan, and we were able to pass 4 common sense gun laws. I'm very proud of that. I'm a Moms Demand Action Gun Sense candidate, and I'm very proud of that. One of the things we have to do is we have to prevent crime. So community violence intervention is one of those things. I've been to the state fighting for money for that. We've been working on initiatives. Also, we've been working with the county prosecutor to make sure that juveniles are matriculated, not not through Children's Village, but actually through healing groups and other things in order to make sure that they're there. Because if you spend one night in jail, you're much more likely to spend another night in jail. And so we want to make sure that people are not in the justice impacted system. The second thing is Pontiac has been disinvested in for 50 years. And so we have to make sure that the money in the youth programming, the money in the community interest is there, because poverty is evil. And we have to deal with that and address that. My thoughts on the Sheriff's Department, I would love to have a Pontiac Police Department, but we have to be smart. At the end of the day, we have to realize that right now, the sheriff is the best option, because not only do they have some wraparound services like helicopters and other things that the city doesn't have, but we need to start looking at building our own trucks, because we need to revisit public safety in the city of Pontiac. But that's a 10-year plan, but we have to start working and making sure that one of the things that we do is have a community dashboard for what the sheriff is doing in our city. You can't evaluate a product where there's no matrix. And so we need data to do that. And one of the things that we need to do is make sure that all of the racial issues and other things are tracked as far as police stops and other things, to make sure that we're having good community policing and not over policing. But we can't beat up on the Sheriff's Department. We have to make sure that we have a goal as a whole city. And it starts with eradicating poverty. 25% of Pontiac residents are in poverty, and we have to deal with that first.
Same question. Your thoughts on reducing crime in the city of Pontiac and the Sheriff's Department or a Pontiac Police Department?
I'm grateful that the trends have been so positive, that violent crime is dramatically down in the city of Pontiac, and I want to make sure we keep that trend going because it's so destructive and destabilizing anytime crime of a small magnitude or financial crime or something really serious and violent. So we want to make sure we can prevent that. And part of that is, with our sheriff contract, we've ensured that community policing is a central part of those services and has expanded in recent years, which is positive. And we've also been able to introduce community violence intervention. So that really proactive step from our city leadership is yielding results, and I want to make sure we keep that, grow that, and I'm grateful that the state of Michigan is identifying it as a funding priority, so that way we can continue to have that as a priority in Pontiac. We've got to make sure, though, that the city is doing our part with keeping neighborhoods and the quality of life strong, so that way the streetlights are working, the trash is cleared, the services, neighborhood services have to be very high priority. And when it comes to the sheriff contract, we'll have this existing contract for at least 2 more years, and then it'll come before the city to make that redetermination. We always have to be weighing the pros and cons. I'm grateful for the partnership with Oakland County Sheriff. It has yielded positive results with safety. And as mayor, I want to make sure that we're continuing to be proactive, innovative, and putting people first, making sure that their safety and quality of life in the neighborhoods keeps getting stronger, keeps going in a positive direction.
Yeah. Okay, next topic is going to be attracting people back to the city of Pontiac, and also employment, trying to get more people, more jobs in your city. Mike, I'll start with you.
So our city was definitely for generations a one-company town. Yep. General Motors just 45 years ago had 34,000 employees in our city of 22 square miles. A lot of employment, and it was our giant primary tax base. Today, there's only a few thousand, so it's a fraction. We've been able to, as a community, see a lot of positive growth with our now largest employer, United Wholesale Mortgage. Amazon has replaced the former Silverdome site. There has been some mid-tier businesses that are taking up some of that mantle, but we've got to keep growing in a really robust way. One big missed opportunity is our historic downtown that needs to be revitalized, and our major corridors. So if you think of Huron, Auburn, Walton, Perry, Baldwin, these are major streets that 60, 80, 100 years ago, they supported small neighborhood community businesses. They were a major employer and just really positively impacted residents' life experience. We've got to reactivate, clean up, and really bring back to life a lot of our commercial corridors and make sure that those that live nearby, those passing through, that they get to benefit and enjoy from not only good curb appeal, but that it's adding to the quality of life and the city's tax base.
Kermit, same question, attracting more people to the city and getting more jobs for them.
We have to be business friendly. Part of what we need to do, this is the first time in the last 20 years that we've lost population. So people are moving out of the city because they feel like they're visitors in their own town. I just met with the owner of Carnival Market. He wanted to do a $10 million expansion the next block over. And if you get a chance, go to Dogwoods. It's a great restaurant. They're doing, I recommend the Salmon Bowl. But literally across the street, they wanted to bring in a Starbucks and some other things in the community, and they were rebuffed by the city after they've spent $200,000 already on the property. These are the kind of things that can't happen. We have to grow our mom and pops, our small businesses, and make sure that we're building a climate that we're business friendly for everybody. I tell everybody all the time, right now we have Popeye service. No knock against Popeyes, I love it. But we need Chick-fil-A service in the city. And so that means redoing what we're doing in code enforcement with leadership and other things, and also bringing our economic development out of the basement. We don't have a brochure for the city of Pontiac right now. That's unacceptable. We need to be open for business, and everybody needs to have fairness in the city. If you want to invest in Pontiac, me as mayor is going to give you an opportunity to have a fair shake, no shakedowns, no other things. You have to be able to come into the city, and we're open for business.
I want to ask both of you about transparency and voter trust. Currently, the former mayor of Pontiac, Deidre Waterman, under federal investigation, again, just under investigation, for allegedly misspending $1.6 million in city money. Do you think, and Mike, I'll start with you, that there is a trust issue, and if so, how would you like to repair it?
A big factor with a lot of residents is they want to know what's going on. And when information doesn't get out there, whether it's with a current challenge or a crisis or just the operations and functions of the city, we're missing an opportunity to build and repair trust with residents. We've been through a lot in terms of hollowing out of services, the emergency management, sell-off of a lot of different items, and ending of city employees and services. As we rebuild those operations, we also have to rebuild communications and trust with residents. And that's a big factor that, as the next mayor, I'm going to have to lead and bring the community and our different community partners together to make that happen. When it comes to making sure that we have a strong, transparent government, I myself experienced an interesting and challenging turn in my life before I was in elected office. And that really shaped my experience of holding myself to a very high standard, making sure that I don't get tripped up into BS that distracts from being able to serve the residents. And I'm proud of the fact that twice elected to the school board and now serving and elected and serving to the city council, that I have not engaged in any behavior that's questionable, that has been investigated and so forth. And so as mayor, I'm going to keep holding myself to that same high standard, in part forged from the experience of my own troubles before I was in elected office, because I don't want that for the residents. I don't want that stress for myself. And we got to focus on getting results for the people so we don't have time to get drawn into mess.
Sure. Kermit, I will give you some fair time here, but I do have to ask, what you're talking about there was 15 years ago in 2010, there was convicted of fraudulently entering 3 Tea Party members' names as candidates for either Oakland County Board of Commissioners or the Michigan Legislature. You called that a very painful lesson. Can you describe what that lesson was?
Sure. When I was chair of the Oakland County Democratic Party 15 years ago, I was trying to do the right thing and got ensnared in the wrong way of doing it. And so I've had to, for the rest of my life, we'll have to keep paying this lesson over and over again, that don't get involved in BS, even if you're not directly doing it. You know, go the high road and go the right, sound way. And so that's been a painful experience where I had to, was on the front page of the papers, all sorts of, legal challenges that'll follow me the rest of my life. And it's forged who I've been as a community leader, because I don't want to ever experience that again. And I don't want my community to have to experience that. So I've tried to hold myself to a very high standard, and I want to make sure that the city operation that we lead also isn't getting ensnared in any distractions and headaches in that regard as well.
Kermit, same question. Your thoughts on transparency and trust with city government?
So I'm blessed to be an elder at my church. I've been a minister for 20 years. And so the number one way to bring back transparency is stop lying to the people. I literally left the city council because we had those challenges, and we've surveyed the community. We did over 5,000 surveys with our nonprofit, and they said trust was the number one issue. They didn't trust government. So we left the city council, and I ran for charter commission. We spent 2 years on developing an Office of Public Integrity and a public public integrity officer to make sure that our city is now safeguarded from any of that, because you have a person that can investigate. The problem that I have is they've implemented a lot of the charter with coming up with the payment for the council president and other things, but the public integrity division has not been started at all. They haven't picked the citizens, they haven't picked the public integrity officer, and these are the things that citizens need. They need to be able to get the reports, get the data, and see the transparency that we talk about. You can't tell people that you're transparent. You have to show people that you're transparent. I've been blessed to do it the right way for 20 years, and I'm going to keep on doing that in the way that I serve the city. Pontiac needs to be first. The people need to be first, and not the politicians.
He pointed the finger at you, so I'll give you 30 seconds for a rebuttal if you'd like.
We have to make sure that our city government works is functioning effectively across the board. And what he's identified definitely is something that needs to be tackled. And it's been unfortunate that that has not happened yet. When I'm mayor, we can deliver on a lot of the initiatives that the charter has called for and that have been in the city government structure for decades, but hasn't been happening the way it is. The mayor has the authority and power to appoint, to hold people accountable, to communicate out to the residents. And I look forward to, as mayor, seeing quick progress and leading that quick progress. But in terms of the Office of Public Integrity, that position is posted. Anyone can pursue and see that listing online and see if they'd like to apply. I've been pushing the administration to get even to that point, and as mayor, I'll be able to make sure it happens.
Okay. We are going to take another short break. When we come back, we're going to dive into some of the issues that probably matter most to your residents in Pontiac. Housing, blight, infrastructure is the things that matter most to them when we come back. Welcome back to Local 4 Live. Again, we're talking with Mike McGinnis and Kermit Williams, both candidates for the mayor of Pontiac, both looking to be the next leader in the city of Pontiac. We've talked about so many things, the challenges, transparency, employment rates, crime, but let's get now to some of the things that affect people right in their own homes, which would be housing, some of the blight. Kermit, I'm going to start with you here. What can you do to get more housing, more affordable housing, and to address the issues of blight?
So we need housing for everybody. One of the things that we need to do is make sure that we are being creative in what we do. Our code only has basically single-family homes, condos, and apartments right now. And we need to be able to expand that. Ann Arbor has done an excellent job with making housing for college students and others, and that's one way we can make it affordable. The other thing is we have to produce jobs. At the end of the day, affordability when you don't have any money is not affordable. And so we have to make sure that we're tackling that. We need to build 1,000 new homes over the first 4 years of my administration. Part of what we're going to do is we also have to keep our seniors in our home. So I've been working for 20 years. We started off repairing seniors' homes with Christmas in Action. We started a chore program back in the city, and I'm glad we were able to do that on council. But we need to make sure that the citizens can age in place. And one of the things that I'm putting in our administration is community navigators. So when the seniors call, we actually have people that are from the city that's helping them navigate, because if you don't have computer savviness, you can't function in this system with DHHS or anything else. And so we need to help the grandmas and others, and even the young people who are not computer literate, in order to do that. We also have to make sure that we're using all the tax abatements, brownfields, pilots, and other things in the city to make sure our city is growing in the right way. But it's got to be mutually beneficial. The problem that we've had in Pontiac is we've had scattered site development and other things that haven't benefited the residents on a long-term scale and a plan. We need a housing plan.
Okay, Mike.
I am going to be a pro-growth mayor. So we want to grow our population. We want those that grew up in Pontiac and have moved away to come home. And we want those that are aging in place to get older and have amazing golden years right in our city of Pontiac. We do have thousands of vacant lots, empty land that needs to be redeveloped and revitalized, and housing is going to be a driving factor for that growth. So we need to have an all-of-the-above strategy. We've recently been able to draft now a housing plan and a housing study for the city, and we've made some innovative approaches when it comes to land use and zoning. And as mayor, I want to drive that progress, drive that growth, and have a very robust season of homes, condos, townhomes, apartments, residential conversion of historic buildings that we're seeing in our downtown right now. We need all of that growth because there are thousands of parcels that used to have homes that have since been demolished. The housing crisis during the late 2000s hit Pontiac very hard, and it led to a big spike in rental properties, not as many homeowners. So as we return that homeowner status in our neighborhoods, we've also been defending and protecting renters, so that way unscrupulous landlords haven't been taking advantage. We've been adding a lot of renter protections, including starting an escrow program to make sure that there are protections and safeguards in place for the thousands of Pontiac families who are renters right now. And I'm proud of that progress, and there's even more proactive initiatives that we're going to undertake.
Okay, our timing is working out perfectly here. So we're kind of at the end of this mini debate candidate forum. We're going to give each of you 60 seconds for some closing remarks, whatever you'd like to say to the citizens of Pontiac. Kermit, we'll start with you, and I'll give you time cues to let you know when your time is wrapping up.
All right. Well, thank you, Nick, and Channel 4. This has been phenomenal. What I want to say to the Pontiac residents is everything that I am, everything that I will be is because of Pontiac. You've given me the opportunity to lead since I've been 26 years old. I gave my hair to the city. I'm 42 now, but we need our next generation to feel like they have a place in Pontiac that they're not going to run away from because we failed them. And now is the time to reset Pontiac in a way that our next generation feels like they can make a home. The name of our campaign is Let's Make Pontiac Home Together, and we want to do that. Housing, opportunity, infrastructure, municipal services, and education. We have to fix the bridge on Martin Luther King. We have to partner with our schools. We have to make sure that all of our kids are literate in the city of Pontiac, and we need to make sure that it's time to invest in us. Thank you, Pontiac. I'm asking for your vote. Go to KermitWilliams.com if you want to support.
Okay, Kermit, Mike, your closing thoughts.
Thank you for the opportunity to put some attention on Pontiac. We deserve the attention, and we have an amazing city, and it's been really powerful to be a part of that experience of helping lead our community. I want to say thank you to my neighbors for entrusting me twice on the school board and now on this term on the city council, and my colleagues for choosing me to lead our city council. And I'm asking now for my neighbors' vote and support so that we can move our city forward faster. There are a lot of amazing projects and initiatives underway in our city, and I want to make sure we keep that positive momentum going and we land even more big wins for our residents. Right now, we have 17 major construction projects underway by the city of Pontiac. We have record grant, state, federal, county funding for the county, from the county to our city. I want to make sure that we deliver those results, finish strong, and have a brighter, more robust city of Pontiac for everybody.
Okay. Mike McGinnis, Kermit Williams, both candidates for Pontiac City Mayor. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope that all of your residents have been tuning in so they can get a better idea of who their candidate is going to be. Most importantly, everybody watching, I don't care who you're voting for, but please go and vote. We need voter turnout much more than ever right now. We are going to hit the reset button here on Local 4 Live. When we come back, the rest of the news happening today and forecast with Ashley when we come back.
From downtown Detroit, Local 4 Live starts right now.
Welcome back to Local 4 Live, everybody. I'm Nick Monticelli. A live look outside this morning at the Ralph C. Wilson Centennial Park. This weekend, the park is opening for everybody. It is a 22-acre green space along the Detroit River. You can kind of see it down there. Actually, no, you really can't. If the camera would pan right just a little bit, which is difficult to do with these cameras, it's actually to the right side there of the RenCen. We'll get it to you, I promise. But they are celebrating with a Harvest Fest. You're going to learn more about how the park came to be, everything it has to offer. When you tune in tomorrow morning, we're taking the show on the road, live at the park all day long. Ashley Barresi is ecstatic about that. She's going to bring her thermals.
You better bring your thermals. It's going to be cool outside.
Oh, you get to stay in the studio, huh, where it's nice and warm?
Yeah, but at least I'm giving you dry conditions. But it's going to be chill. You have like the heated stuff.
When I asked you yesterday if your daughter says you make the weather, you're like, oh no, she gets it. But now you're saying you get the praise for making it dry?
I like the praise. I don't like the criticism.
When it's a good day, she's in charge.
That's right. I'll take all the credit. But, you know, if you have an issue with the forecast, email Brian Sherman.
There you go. Yep. B. Sherman at something.
That's right. So let's go ahead and get to your weather story. Grab an umbrella for later on today, as we will be tracking some rain chances as the afternoon progresses, and then we dry things out, but we're still staying cool and brisk throughout the day. So as we take a look at your temperatures across the area, we have either side of 40 to start the morning. This time tomorrow, we're likely sitting in the mid-30s and maybe even a little cooler in some of the outlying suburbs. That's why I said, yeah, the thermals would be needed. We have that trough digging across the Great Lakes, bringing some instability to the region. Right now, we just have the cloud cover, but the west side of the state getting some bands of rain. And so I do think that we get some of that developing by probably mid-afternoon. 53, the forecasted high today, which puts us a few degrees below the average, and those chances for rain showers increasing, I'll safely say after 2. I think a little bit more prominent after about 3 or 4, and a lot of this out of here by 8. So it'll be a passing scattered shower, and then it moves out of here. So it's not a widespread heavy rain that we're tracking, but today's winds are still on the brisk side. I mean, 20-mile-per-hour wind gusts throughout portions of the day before the winds die down tonight. Rain chances increase, though, in that window I just talked about 2 to 8 o'clock. And it's not widespread, but it will be very hit or miss across the area. And so a quick look at your clouds and radar forecast. You can see some of those showers that will cross the area into the afternoon. We're going to walk you through how the rest of the weekend is shaping up in next week, coming up in just a few minutes.
Okay, I'm liking the forecast because it's getting a little more like fall. I'm trying to be optimistic.
It is very fall-like.
I know Ashley's looking at me like I'm a different person right now. I'm working on it.
Yeah,
Thanks,
we'll see if
Ash.
he's smiling tomorrow when he's shivering out there.
Heated vest, it's going to be fine.
It'll be great.
We'll see. A live look at Harbor Springs right now. In just a few months, northern Michigan will be back in winter mode, even as crews continue cleaning up from the March ice storm. The good news is the 2026 budget includes $14 million to help with ice storm recovery. The budget sets aside $10 million for cleanup, $2 million for tree replanting, and another $2 million to reduce wildfire risks. These funds are the state's required match for $50 million in federal disaster aid it received earlier in the year. The ice storm caused about $137 million in damage to public property and infrastructure, not including private homes. With winter approaching, though, the DNR is working hard to prepare the land and the areas for another potentially harsh winter ahead. So, joining me to talk about the winter preps and the new Tony Stevens, the DNR Forest Resources District Supervisor for the Eastern Lower Peninsula, and Chris Semmerneck, the DNR Legislative Liaison. Thank you both for joining us this morning. I was joking in the newsroom earlier that you can get all the money in the world, but you can't control Mother Nature, but at least you can better prepare for it. So, Chris, I'll start with you. What does this do in order for you to be able to get that land ready if this does happen again?
Yeah, sure, Nick. You know, it's critically important. I would say the forestry division in the Department of Natural Resources is so critical, not just to the citizens of Michigan, but to private industry in Michigan as well, to the timber industry. So really what we need to do is get that funding in order to get out into the land, clear some of that area. This affected over 900,000 acres of state forest land, thousands of miles of state forest roads, motorized and non-motorized trails. So this money is really going to help us get boots on the ground, get folks in the field, get that area assessed, cleaned up, and able to be replanted for the future.
Yeah, I can only imagine. And Cody, I know we've talked about this a couple of times, that when the ice storm happened, a lot of the challenge was just accessing the areas that had the most damage and clearing it up. So does this money give you better opportunity to kind of prepare, get even more cleaning done, and then open things up if this does happen again?
Yeah, absolutely. This funding will help us finish the remaining road work that we're working on. We still have crews out there every day clearing roads. I believe we have over 600 miles still of state forest roads that are impacted that we're working on. So we're hoping to get that cleared out so that next spring, when we roll into our spring fire season, we'll have good access to all these remote areas.
Yeah, I know some of the money also being set aside, $2 million that was for replanting, which is a pretty big deal. I know that's a very long-term plan, but what are the discussions about in terms of what to plant and where to plant it?
Yeah, so we had over 9,000 acres of just red pine stands alone that were drastically impacted by the ice storm, that we're coming up with reforestation plans now to reforest with these funds. We'll also be looking at a lot of our jack pine stands and a few hardwood stands as well that were heavily impacted. So looking forward to getting a plan in place and getting trees back on the ground here. So.
Chris, in terms of, I know there's another $2 million set aside to reduce wildfire risk. I imagine the majority of that is, again, just about cleaning debris and kind of having fire pass through. But how do you plan for something like that when you try to look at what areas could be the most vulnerable?
It's really difficult, right? I think you need to have both the finances and the operations in place ahead of time. You sort of plan for the worst, right? I think once this ice storm, the weather warmed up a little bit, we knew all of that down debris was just drying out, could be tinder for any fire. And once that really starts, you want to get ahead of it and prevent, a major disaster from happening. So I think the critical thing, right, is that we need to make sure we have the finances, the folks on the ground, the operations in place, ready to go if and when that time happens. And it also helps to, get out on the ground as soon as possible to help clear that debris to prevent any type of an emergency from happening in the first place.
Not saying that there was a delayed response on our end when this initially happened, but because this ice storm was so massive and so destructive, I can only imagine the amount of manpower and resources that the state had to give, with also calling in federal help. Does some of this money allow you to kind of better plan and get more resources in place so you might have a faster response or have a better idea of how to deal with it? Again, not saying you did anything wrong, but this was pretty bad that nobody expected.
Yeah, I'd say so, and Cody can speak to this as well, but I think having that money in place ahead of time, right, helps us prep our equipment. We have resources to make sure folks are on the clock and ready to go. We also want to make sure, right, that we're not pulling folks from other areas of the state that also have critical work that need to be done in the forestry division, right? So we need to make sure that obviously Northern Michigan has a bulk of a lot of our forest resources, but we do have folks all across the state that, we hate to pull them from other critical areas to help address this, but I think this money goes a long way into helping us do that.
Yeah, Cody, same question to you.
Yeah, I think Chris nailed it there. Really, it's just getting those resources on the ground. Some specialized equipment for cleaning up roads. We've never dealt with anything at like this scale before. So just having enough equipment to go with the boots on the ground was a difficult task here this spring. So
yeah. That was actually my next question for you, as we're kind of looking at the before and after pictures of what happened with the ice storm. Were there any lessons learned from trying to recover and respond to this that kind of also lent itself to what the money could be best used for?
Yeah, just trying to be a little bit better prepared, having a plan in place for these larger incidents. We deal a lot with short-term incidents here in the state. Large fires typically only last a day or two for us. So something that's taking 9 months to a year to clean up, coming up with a plan for that is something that we're going to work on with our sister agencies, the other divisions within the DNR as well. Yeah. So we are better equipped to move staff and equipment around.
Chris, I know a chunk of this money was match dollars that you had to do, but was this a difficult discussion with Lansing, or did everybody kind of get it?
I got to say, Nick, this was really a bipartisan, solution, I think. We met constantly in Lansing with folks on both sides of the aisle, especially those folks, north of the Knuckles, right, whose districts are really impacted. And I got to say, a lot of them stepped up big time. Were meeting with us every day, with myself, with department leadership, and really made this a priority. And I will say, even in budget negotiations, we kind of came down to the wire in terms of getting a state budget passed, but this always stayed at the top of the priority list when it came to the DNR budget.
Yeah. Okay, Chris and Cody, both from the DNR, thank you so much for your time on this Thursday. We appreciate you.
Thanks, Nick.
Thanks for having us.
Well, federal workers still facing a payday without a paycheck. Next, the fight in Washington and the Senate plan to help those workers out when we come back. Welcome back, everybody. A live look at the Capitol now. Tomorrow could be the first time some federal workers miss the paycheck due to the government shutdown. They got a partial paycheck last time, but many are now working without pay at all. Lawmakers want to pass a bill to pay essential federal employees, but they can't agree on who to include on that list. The Senate may vote on the bill for the 13th time soon, but it's unclear if it's going to pass. Some Republicans fear this could lower pressure to reopen the government, while Democrats want all federal workers paid. Meanwhile, federal workers are struggling to make ends meet.
They're trying to make their mortgage payments. They're trying to put food on the table.
The military should be getting paid and law enforcement should be getting paid. Those are the two entities that you need. Everybody else, shut it off.
I'd be in favor of paying the federal workers. That bill, unfortunately, gives a lot of latitude to the president to pick and choose.
You'll see a Democratic counterproposal that is an even-handed approach.
I can't believe I'm here, because you always thought that getting a government job or, a federal job, that's security.
Rent, car note, car insurance, student loans, those are not stopping.
Now, meantime, GOP leaders are pushing a bill to pay federal workers, but that is also unclear if that will pass in the Senate. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Over in Inkster, families are dealing with some surprisingly high water bills lately. Many are pointing the finger at the new water meters for that spike. It's a story that sent viewers to our help desk calling for help, so we are digging in to get some of those answers for you. Jay Scott Smith talked with residents and got a response from the city.
Now, things like this happen sometimes when you're covering stories like this. We were looking into this issue where, as we're talking to residents and getting some of their concerns, the city actually reached out with a response. This entire situation is something that has left a lot of Inkster residents confused and angry.
I'm very concerned. How are we going to do this?
Geneva and Eric Golston have lived at this house on Andover Street in Inkster for 46 years. Having raised 4 kids, they lead a pretty simple life on a fixed income, which is why when their water bill suddenly spiked from $77 per month to $284 starting in July, it sounded alarm bells.
There are no children, no grandchildren that live here. We don't water our grass. What's going on?
The high water bills have become a source of confusion and downright anger. Residents have been posting about it for months on the community's Facebook page. They say the trouble started when the city installed new water meters and started doing sewage pipe work.
$200 a month just for water. I mean, that's a lot.
Despite that, the bills continue to go up for the Golstons, including a bill that's due on December 31st for nearly $825. I reached out to Jerome Bivens, Inkster's public service director.
Good afternoon, City of Inkster Department of Public Works.
He called me back a few minutes later and directed me to a statement from Inkster Mayor Byron Nolan that came out as we were making calls to the city. It said that the issue is not the meters, quote, the issue stems from an error during the migration of previous account data, and they plan on getting that completed over the next few weeks, adding that it will, quote, permanently solve the issue of incorrect balances and errors. It's an issue the Goldstons hope will be resolved soon because this is not a mistake that they can afford to pay for.
I just think it's sad that no matter who you are, we're just ordinary people, that they could do this and get away with this.
Now, in the city statement, they also said that they are working to make sure that they get everybody's bills squared away. So they're going to suspend all late fees on any of these late bills. Plus, they're telling you if you have an inaccurate bill, do not pay it until they get the correct meter reading and they square away your entire balance. In Inkster, I'm Jay Scott Smith for Local 4.
All right, Jay, thank you very much. We've got breaking news happening right now in our newsroom. The Associated Press is reporting that Pistons legend and world champ Chauncey Billups, a.k.a. Mr. Big Shot, has been arrested as part of a federal sports betting probe. Now, Billups, who is the current head coach of the Portland Blazers, played with the Pistons from 2002 until 2008, and he won the championship with the Pistons back in 2004. This is a developing story. As we get more information into our Local 4 newsroom, we'll get you updated with that as well. Also breaking into the newsroom, something happening near the U of M campus in Ann Arbor, where police say that they have been given now the all clear after a shelter in place was issued about an hour ago due to a report about possible shots being fired near campus. It turns out that no shots were fired. It was actually a firefighter that was banging a hammer nearby, but it sounded like gunshots. So it was one of those situations, better safe than sorry, but the all clear has been given. All is safe in Ann Arbor near the U of M campus. When we come back in 90 seconds, a check of your forecast and that rivalry forecast, I should say. Michigan State playing this weekend. Plus a live look at Holland State Park right now if you're thinking about taking one final visit before the cold settles in. Be prepared to do your business elsewhere. We'll explain why when we come back. Welcome back, everybody. A live look at Holland State Park on this Thursday morning. Summer stuck around a little bit longer. We all liked it, at least I did. But now the park is flushing out the season and winterizing one of Michigan's most popular beaches. After welcoming about 2 million beachgoers to splash around in Lake Michigan, the beach bathrooms are closing for the season. Don't panic. The park's vault toilets are open year-round, so if you need to take care of your business, you can still do it. Right?
Most important things, priorities.
You know, I never really thought about that, which it's common sense and I should have, but they do have to winterize all that stuff because, you know, it freezes and pipes are going to burst and things happen.
Yeah.
So shut down the beach.
Shut down the beach, I know, but it's awfully chilly over there. I don't think a lot of folks on a rainy, cold day want to be on the beach anyways.
There are some crazy folks out there.
Yeah, I'm sitting next to one of them. I'm just kidding. Yeah. So satellite radar actually showing that we do have more activity on the west side of the state. That's why I brought it up. The rain showers are coming off of Lake Michigan, but we do have a chance for some of those scattered showers to redevelop across town here this afternoon. And so looking like it happens after 2, probably that's a safer bet, but I would say more 3, 4 o'clock is when we have more of the scattered showers crossing from west to east and then out of here by 8. So it'll be a pretty quick window there, but 53 for the afternoon high, meaning we will be trending below average once again today. And here's that other look I was just showing you where I do want to give you more perspective of what it looks like outside. So clouds are hanging around for now, but I'm not going to rule out a few breaks in the cloud cover today before we get to those rain chances. So fingers crossed we see a little sunshine. But 44 degrees in the city, 40 in Ann Arbor, 41 in Pontiac, and 45 down into Monroe. So 53, as I mentioned, for the afternoon high. Will be a little windy for today with 20-mile-per-hour wind gusts. And so here's an hour-by-hour look at how it all shakes out. So you have those scattered rain chances developing 3, 4 o'clock crossing the area. So it's going to be very hit or miss for the evening drive. You might have the wipers on, wipers off kind of thing because it just depends on where you're going to be driving through. But by the time we get to 8, it's off to the east. We get a little clearing throughout the overnight, which tees us up for drier weather come Friday. But as those clouds clear out, we get what we call radiational cooling. So it's like you fall asleep and someone takes that blanket away from you and it starts to feel a little chillier. So 35 tonight for the overnight low. Patchy frost with those 30s in the forecast. And we always hit the lowest temperature right around daybreak. However, 35 at 8, and then we get to 51 by 3 o'clock in the afternoon, meaning we don't get a whole lot warmer than that tomorrow. 46 by 8 o'clock at night, and then we'll start to slide through the overnight again. So we have a big game come Saturday night, rivalry week here in the state of Michigan. Michigan versus Michigan State, 7:30 kickoff with that night game. It's going to be a bit chilly, 47 at kickoff and low 40s by game's end. So here's your Halloween update, Mr. Monticelli.
There it is.
8 days away. And we have some new data in with our model.
Okay.
Remember yesterday, it showed some of the rain in the north.
I still see it.
But not very much. Just looking a little drier, model by model run, so that's great. And still trending probably in the mid-50s for highs come Halloween.
Really?
Yeah, so very seasonal, hopefully dry Halloween. We'll take that. I mean, you can put an extra layer under the costume. You don't have to put the coat over the costume. And we're starting a dry stretch beginning tomorrow all the way until the middle of next week.
You just made all of the ghouls and goblins very happy that they don't have to cover up the costume.
I know. It was more a challenge for the parents. Like, how are you going to...
Right. Sometimes you buy the costume 3 times too big so you can fit the
Put it
coats
over
underneath.
You're not kidding. Yeah. Those inflatable ones, though, you're always safe because
I
you can.
love those.
I know you
Except
do.
when it's really cold because then it just blows cold air in there.
Oh, good point.
It's not-
Weren't you an inflatable chicken or something one time?
Sure was. It was incredible. We'll be right back after this.
Sorry, Mary, if you were wrapping my eyes. You died right before I went over here.
From downtown Detroit, Local 4 Live starts right now.
Welcome back to Local 4 Live, everybody. I'm Nick Monticelli. Here are the big stories we're working on for this next hour of news. A new poll giving us a better idea of where voters stand going into the upcoming governor's race. We're going to look at what a potential path could be opening, I should say, for current Detroit Mayor Mike Duggan. Plus, 27 years ago, a famous store in the heart of downtown Detroit brought down to a pile of rubble and ironically rebuilt up again this year. We're looking back at the implosion of the old Hudson's department store. There's also about a month until we pop the bird in the oven for Thanksgiving. Looking for Christmas trees, though? Already? We're talking about what may be in short supply when you start your holiday shopping. We begin though with breaking news on a Pistons legend and a world champion. The Associated Press reporting Chauncey Billups, aka Mr. Big Shot, has been arrested as part of a federal sports betting probe. Billups, who is the current head coach of the Portland Blazers, played with the Pistons from 2002 until 2008. He won the championship with the team in 2004. This, of course, is a developing story, and we will keep you updated all morning here on Local 4, Local 4 Plus, and on clickondetroit.com. Let's get to your top headlines on this Thursday. We expect to learn more later this morning about a shooting on Detroit's east side. This is video from the scene over on Nottingham Road. We have confirmed that 2 people were shot, a man in his 40s and a teenager. Both are in stable condition, are expected to be okay. We're trying to get an idea, though, on what led up to that shooting. Also, newly released body camera footage from state police revealing the moments leading up to the fatal shooting of Stephen Mason during a traffic stop back on May 16th. Attorney General Dana Nessel determined the state trooper did act in self-defense when he shot Mason following a brief struggle over a gun. MSP Trooper Justin Cope will not face any charges, but for Mason's family, questions still remain. They are now requesting a special prosecutor be assigned to that case. It's important to note while the Attorney General's review found the trooper did not start life-saving care on Mason, he did immediately call for EMS. The Michigan State Police did not provide additional comment beyond the AG's review. Well, after nearly 50 years, Vista Maria in Dearborn Heights is closing its residential treatment program. This change affects 11 girls who will be moved to new homes and about 150 staff members who will lose their jobs. The organization is one of Michigan's oldest child welfare groups and said the program no longer fits the needs of the kids or state rules. Vista Maria will keep running other services like foster care and support for young adults. The Local 4 investigators have closely followed this facility and the dozens of violations that have come out of it. You can read up on all of those investigations over on clickondetroit.com. Well, budget cuts are happening at Michigan State University, and now the school president is revealing how many people are losing their jobs this year. In an email, the president confirmed 99 positions are cut, including support staff, faculty, academic staff, and executive managers. The president says these cuts will save Michigan State about $50 million. More cuts, though, are coming next year as MSU tries to save $85 million over the next 2 years. School officials are stressing the need to eliminate a deficit. They claim this is due to rising costs of employee health care and operations. University also claims it is also preparing for possible changes in federal funding. Well, there are new numbers from our exclusive poll shedding light on the upcoming governor's race when it comes to the city of Detroit. Not surprisingly, the former Democrat and now independent candidate Mike Duggan is doing well. But as our Jason Coulthard reports, with whom is probably a little surprising.
In our latest WDIV Detroit News poll of 500 Detroiters who are likely to vote, we found high praise for the job Mike Duggan has done over the last 12 years. But does that translate to his bid for governor? The poll asked those same Detroiters 2 questions on the governor's race. One, choosing between Mike Duggan, who's running as an independent, Democrat Jocelyn Benson, and Republican Mike Cox. And another with Duggan, Benson, and Republican John James. Pollster Richard Juba found the answers to be a good sign for Detroit's mayor.
Mike Duggan and Jocelyn Benson are splitting the vote. And that's important for Mike Duggan to have a shot. But I want to put this in context. Detroit does not provide the amount of votes it used to provide statewide. And so we need to look at a wider context. And we've seen in polling that Mike Duggan is pulling equally from both the Republican and the Democratic side of the ballot.
That's the answer from Detroiters. But the next question will be asked of people everywhere else in Michigan.
Can he connect with the voters in outstate Michigan who don't know him, are just now starting to learn who he is? And can he pull equally from them? That's when this race becomes really interesting.
Now, unfortunately for Duggan, previous polling shows the further away from Detroit you get, the fewer number of people know about the city's recent success and the turnarounds. And while this race is getting a lot of attention when we're talking about upcoming elections, there is a long list of cities that will be looking for the next leader, including the city of Pontiac. The current mayor is running for Congress, looking to fill the U.S. House seat in Michigan's 10th district, vacated by John James, who's running for governor, as we just told you. So in Pontiac, that leaves a seat open for the next mayor. On the ballot, two candidates with more than a decade of experience. We talked to both of them, Mike McGinnis, the current city council president, and Kermit Williams, a former city councilman, in our last hour. Here are their closing arguments from our debate that happened at 8 o'clock.
What I want to say to the Pontiac residents is everything that I am, everything that I will be is because of Pontiac. You've given me the opportunity to lead since I've been 26 years old. I gave my hair to the city. I'm 42 now. But we need our next generation to feel like they have a place in Pontiac that they're not going to run away from because we failed them. And now is the time to reset Pontiac in a way that our next generation feels like they can make a home. The name of our campaign is Let's Make Pontiac Home Together. And we want to do that. Housing, opportunity, infrastructure, municipal services, and education. We have to fix the bridge on Martin Luther King. We have to partner with our schools. We have to make sure that all of our kids are literate in the city of Pontiac, and we need to make sure that it's time to invest in us. Thank you, Pontiac. I'm asking for your vote. Go to KermitWilliams.com if you want to support.
Okay, Kermit, Mike, your closing thoughts.
Thank you for the opportunity to put some attention on Pontiac. We deserve the attention, and we have an amazing city, and it's been really powerful to be a part of that experience of helping lead our community. I want to say thank you to my neighbors for entrusting me twice on the school board and now on this term on the city council, and my colleagues for choosing me to lead our city council. And I'm asking now for my neighbors' vote and support so that we can move our city forward faster. There are a lot of amazing projects and initiatives underway in our city, and I want to make sure we keep that positive momentum going and we land even more big wins for our residents. Right now, we have 17 major construction projects underway by the city of Pontiac. We have record grant, state, federal, county funding for the county, from the county to our city. I want to make sure that we deliver those results, finish strong, and have a brighter, more robust city of Pontiac for everybody.
You can watch the full debate over on our website at clickondetroit.com. Christmas is nearly 2 months away, and holiday spending is expected to reach another milestone this season. The National Retail Federation says consumers plan to spend nearly $900 per person on average. From Halloween to Christmas and everything in between, the holidays can be a real money pit. But if you know where and when to look, there are savings to be found. Starting with the holiday that comes first, Halloween. Since we're about a week away, now is the time to start thinking about next year. Many retailers put decorations on sale days after October 31st. Also look for deals on candy, which may come handy come Christmas time. Next, we flip the calendar to Thanksgiving. Start by making your grocery list for that giant turkey feast now. And monitor prices at the stores looking for meal deals. Walmart is just announcing a Thanksgiving meal that will feed 10 people for about $40. Aldi also promoting a meal for $40.
You get a turkey, you get cranberry sauce, you get sweet potatoes, regular potatoes, like you name it, you get it.
Meanwhile, Costco members can score a full Thanksgiving dinner that feeds 8 people for $25 a person. 28 days after Turkey Day is Christmas, but in between are the deals.
I want consumers to know that there are going to be plenty of sales to take advantage of this holiday season.
Money-saving expert Andrea Warrock says even if you missed early deals in October, November will deliver plenty of saving opportunities.
My general rule of thumb is if you're getting it for 30% off and it's a popular item for the holiday season, chances are it's not going to get much cheaper than that. So grab it before it sells out.
With Black Friday, Warwick suggests the best items to buy during that period are electronics, TVs, gaming consoles, home goods like vacuum cleaners, and small kitchen appliances.
We will see some select fashion and toy deals, but again, those are going to be on limited items. So unless you have flexibility on what you're giving somebody, chances are it might not be on sale. I prefer shopping for fashion, sneakers, and beauty over Cyber Monday.
That's when Andrea says you can expect site-wide discounts from clothing retailers and select products on beauty, fashion, and shoes.
Set sale alerts so you don't miss out on any limited time price drops on these items ahead of Black Friday or Cyber Monday. There are tools like Keepa or Karma. These are web extensions which you can track items that you want to buy, and they will alert you when there is a sale or price drop.
But be prepared for potential supply shortages, since inventory may be a bit more limited due to tariffs. Here's supply chain expert Dr. Jeff Reitmer from Wayne State.
It's kind of like when we had the pandemic and stuff started slowing down coming out of China, toys and all of that stuff, and they told you to buy early.
Right.
Same type of thing. If you see it, you probably want to buy it now.
Lastly, while shopping, use reward tools like Fetch to earn points from online purchases at partner sites, like 10 points for every grocery store purchase with a credit card.
Those points are going to accumulate really, really fast. And then you can redeem points for gift cards to a variety of stores, including Target, Amazon, Walmart. I love Fetch. With Fetch, I have 65,000 points. So that's going to be over $60 in gift cards. I'm planning to get a couple for my teachers at my kids' school.
Now, to make sure you are getting the most bang for your buck, keep tabs on the prices of each gift on your shopping list so you know how much it costs before the sales roll around. Also, look into historical pricing data using Honey or Camel. That's over on Amazon. Also, watch prices after you buy that gift, because if it goes on sale, you could get a price adjustment. Lots of retailers will give you money back for the price difference. It's 9:12 here. We're going to take a short break and then talk about some of the inventory shortages that you might run into when you start that holiday shopping. We'll be right back. Welcome back. If you are planning on decorating your home for the holidays, you might want to actually start early. One of the nation's largest artificial Christmas tree importers is warning there might be a limited inventory because of tariffs. The National Tree Company says it raised prices by 10% this year and bought 25% less inventory. We're talking fake Christmas trees and all kinds of decor. So we wanted to know if you can expect these types of inventory shortages throughout the holiday season. For the answers, we went to Dr. Jeff Reitmer with Wayne State's Department of Supply Chain Management. Here's that conversation. Joining me right now is Dr. Jeff Reitmer with the Department of Global Supply Chain Management over at Wayne State University. Jeff, always good to have you here. Thank you so much.
Not a problem.
First of all, I'm sure you're not surprised at all by this company saying that prices are up, we're ordering less, prepare for a difference in the holiday shopping season.
Yeah, not surprised at all, because the tariffs really hit during the buying season.
Right.
It's much like fashion. You're buying the winter stuff in the middle of summer, so the lead time's long. Same thing with Christmas, Halloween stuff. So the shortages probably will be there. Prices will probably be a lot higher.
So when we go to the Home Depot and the Lowe's and all the other stores that we buy these trees at, are we going to see less on the shelves or higher prices or both?
Both. You may not see the selection, and the prices probably will be up based upon the amount of inventory they brought in. About 70 to 80% of all that stuff is imported.
Right, because as you mentioned, they started buying their stuff probably back in June, July?
Yeah.
All right. So that's decor we're talking about. What about just the overall holiday shopping that we're doing for, presents and gifts for everybody in our families and our loved ones? How do we plan out? Because I'm assuming tariffs will have an effect there too.
It will. It's kind of like when we had the pandemic and stuff started slowing down coming out of China. Toys and all of that stuff, and they told you to buy early.
Right.
Same type of thing. If you see it, you probably want to buy it now.
Buy it now, right. I had an interesting conversation with another professor who was talking about how, we always see that high demand for that one hot toy or whatever it's going to be.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's going to be a Labubu or whatever it is this year. What happens on an item like that that's already in high demand?
It becomes more of one of those self-perpetuating things, like the paper products during the pandemic. Demand shoots up.
Okay.
During the pandemic and paper products, some of that stuff went up by 500%.
Really?
So you see all of this demand, and you don't have the supply. So that's when you have to go to eBay and try to find one for $200 over asking price.
Like getting an Eras Tour ticket.
Yeah, essentially.
Right. So if I'm a consumer, if I'm just Joe or Sally Smith at home and trying to figure out not only how do I plan, how do I budget for the holiday season, is there an answer?
You have to start looking at it now. You can't wait till like Black Friday, because if you do that, you probably won't find what you want.
Okay.
So start looking at it now, start understanding what you're going to buy, and then start budgeting for those items.
Yeah. I remember earlier on when some of these tariffs were announced that you and I had a lengthy conversation, mainly around the auto industry, which obviously has been hit. In fact, I think I saw yesterday GM said a $1.6 billion loss based on down demand and tariff increases.
Yep.
I don't think many people thought originally that it would spill over into their everyday lives, but it's affecting almost everything now, isn't it?
It is. And we import so much because we don't manufacture it here.
Right.
But like the tariffs on the stuff you make furniture out of. We had some furniture made, and the delay was they couldn't get the padding in.
Oh, really?
It all came from overseas.
Yeah.
And there wasn't a manufacturer here in the States.
Right,
So it increased the lead time on that.
Yeah. We also had a story yesterday, President Trump talking about tariff issues with China, Beijing, just kitchen cabinets now. They were talking about 25, 50, even 100% tariffs. I understand a lot of that from his perspective. He's using it as a negotiation tool, as a tactic. But in some instances, things actually went into effect and have cost us a lot of money. Can you kind of go through that trickle-down effect of how that tariff does eventually get to the consumer?
The importer pays that tariff.
Right.
And then whoever buys that from that importer is going to pay some of that too. And it will eventually trickle down to the consumer. They don't have a choice.
Right.
Now, they've been not passing the full amount on.
Right.
But you can see as it goes along, this stuff the prices will start to increase.
Well, and that was my next question for you, because I know a lot of retailers have been trying to kind of soften the blow a little bit by absorbing some of those additional costs. They can't do that forever.
Right.
So looking, into your crystal ball here, do you anticipate first quarter, second quarter next year when we start to see even more increases?
It depends.
Okay.
If he follows through and the tariffs go into effect, then yes, second quarters, you're going to start to see more price increases.
Okay.
Automobile industry is a great example. Ford, GM, Stellantis has all basically come out and said, suppliers, we're not paying you anymore because you have to eat these tariffs.
Right.
So that just is going to perpetuate that. You're going to see suppliers get in cash flow problems really quick.
Yeah. And I also understand, of course, a lot of the conversation was about manufacturing domestically. And some of the big three have said that we're going to start doing that. But that also comes with an additional cost, doesn't it?
Yes. And you guys were doing the PSA on skilled trades.
Right.
That's one of the big issues is I'm going to build these places. How can I get people to staff them?
Right.
Because there is a shortage of skilled trades.
Right.
There is not a shortage of skilled trades in Mexico and Canada, which makes it attractive.
Now, when we do start that shopping spree, there's a new place you can pop into in downtown Detroit. We're going to show you the new spot you may want to put on your holiday shopping list when we come back. .22 on your Thursday morning. There is a new place to shop downtown. Timberland moving into a spot over on Woodward. The outdoor brand opens November 14th inside of the Traver building right across from Hudson's. They're going to celebrate the weekend with a grand opening event. It's one of the few standalone Timberland stores in Michigan, joining Apple, Gucci, and Alo. Alo? I forget. I don't know. Okay, either way, producer Steven doesn't know either. He's just telling me to go to weather instead.
Now, forewarned weather with Exact Track 4D.
Well, after a relatively dry start to the day, rain chances increase through the afternoon, and we're still going to be trending below average with low 50s in the forecast for today. So just like yesterday, another cool, kind of damp day, but it won't be quite as much of a widespread washout like we had yesterday, but we do remain breezy. So let's talk about the winds first. Those gusts will be around 20 miles per hour, but they do begin to taper off closer to midnight. So tomorrow, not quite as brisk as it will be today. Now, the rain chances not as widespread as I just mentioned, but they'll be a little more scattered. I would say after 2 o'clock all the way till about 8. That's going to be the window that you're dodging some off and on rain chances. So putting all this into motion for you, 3:30 is where we'll stop the clock, and this begins to move in from the northwest, pushing across the area where we do have the scattered variety. But by 8, it's moved out of here. We'll peel back those clouds throughout the overnight, and that'll allow temperatures to slide tonight, where a lot of folks will likely be waking up to some patchy frost. That's because temperatures fall tonight into the 30s, 35 degrees for the overnight low. So you might be turning on that heat tonight if you haven't done so with the clearing skies. Winds will be out of the west, 5 to 10 miles per hour. And that's not going to be our only 30-degree night ahead as we're in this cooler snap. So tomorrow, right at sunrise, about 35 degrees. That's always our coolest time of the day. And we have mostly clear skies that will have a little increase in clouds as the day rolls on, but 51 around 3 o'clock in the afternoon tomorrow. And then as we get into the evening, we fall into the 40s under partly cloudy skies. And so for Saturday, well, well, it's going to be a cool game as well. So if you're going to Spartan Stadium for a 7:30 kickoff, we'll be in the upper 40s for kickoff, low 40s by game's end, increasing cloud cover. At least for dry, for tailgating, and for the game, but you need to bundle up. Because of it being a night game, it's going to be a cool night. Halloween countdown, 8 days away until we're at Halloween, and we get closer and closer with the models that we're looking at. And so a little bit of a change for today, looking ahead to Halloween, and that is a drier change. And so we did have a little bit of moisture in the forecast yesterday at this time, but taking those moisture chances out of there and hopefully trending dry in 50s for your Halloween, but we'll continue to fine tune that over the next 8 days. 10 days away from falling back, so not this weekend, but next weekend. We'll get an extra hour of sleep. We're counting down to the tree lighting in downtown Detroit that you'll be able to see right here on Local 4, 29 days away. Thanksgiving, of course, the parade here on Local 4, 35 days away. And if you still have Christmas shopping to do, which most people do, you have time, but 63 days until Christmas. So your 7-day forecast shows that we start the drier stretch Friday. We take it all the way through the weekend, and we will be in more seasonal territory by Sunday and into early next week, 57 degrees. And so if you're going to be grabbing maybe a bite to eat before heading to the Pistons game, either Sunday or Monday. We have those drier conditions in Detroit, but cool. And then a chance for showers will begin to build into the forecast by the middle of next week, as we will still be hovering in the 50s.
All right, Ash, thank you so much. We all know how important it is to keep your eyes on the road when you're driving. But in 3 years, GM says you won't have to. A new feature called Eyes Off Driving when we come back. Welcome back. The New York Times is reporting Amazon plans to replace more than 500,000 jobs with robots. The paper reports internal documents show Amazon expects its AI investments to cut 600,000 jobs by 2033, even as sales double. The documents also say Amazon hopes to automate most warehouse work. Amazon is the country's second largest employer, and it calls the reports incomplete and misleading. Well, skills in artificial intelligence development are not protecting hundreds of workers over at Meta. A company spokesperson told CNBC it is cutting about 600 AI jobs. The move comes 4 months after Meta brought in Chief AI Officer Alexander Wang and made a more than $14 billion investment in AI tech. These 600 fired employees work for older AI units within Meta. General Motors is making a pretty bold move, self-driving cars. A live look at GM's headquarters at the RenCen for now anyway. The automaker says in 2028, the Cadillac Escalade IQ will have what it's calling eyes-off driving. Take a look here. GM says while using the feature, drivers will not have to watch the road at all. You see the turquoise lights there on the side? Those indicate the mode is active and the car is driving itself, so other people know the SUV is all on its own. The new Hudson building downtown is marking a new chapter for the company, but before this skyscraper went up, another building had to come down. We're taking a trip down memory lane for what was the old Hudson Department building. The implosion, you'll see that again 15 years after the fact. Actually, much more than that.
Local 4 News starts now with a breaking news alert.
We do want to update that breaking news, which is our top story over on clickondetroit.com. NBA Hall of Famer and Pistons icon Chauncey Billups has been arrested in connection to a federal investigation into illegal sports betting. Billups, also known as Mr. Big Shot, won a championship with the Pistons back in 2004. He was inducted into the Hall of Fame this time last year. Right now, he's the head coach of the Portland Trail Blazers. Miami Heat guard Terry Rozier has also been arrested in connection to this investigation. The exact charge or charges they are facing still unknown at this moment. FBI Director Kash Patel is expected to provide more details at a news conference that's happening later today. The new Hudson skyscraper in Detroit is the second tallest in Detroit, with part of it expected to open next year and the rest in 2027. We've been watching the progress for years, but today we're going to go backwards. It's been 27 years, not 15, 27 years since the old Hudson's department store was demolished, making way for what would eventually become this new building. Tomorrow marks the implosion anniversary, October 24th, 1998, when this iconic building came down. So we said, who wants to watch some archive footage that we pulled out of the basement here at Local 4? It's our coverage from that day featuring some Local 4 legends, Carmen Harlan, Emery King, and Chuck Gatica. Take a look.
Emery and Carmen with you.
I'm with you too.
According to the plan, maybe we can run through this. There were to be 2 sirens sounded at 2 minutes. Could you kind of walk us down as best you can into what we're going to see?
Well, we are hearing some sirens. I don't think that's the horn or the siren they're speaking of. That might be police in the distance. But what we're going to hear are these sirens that give an all clear to the signal to the police force and make sure everybody is off the ground level to prepare everybody up here. And of course, the mayor is up on this level of the garage with what is in essence a ceremonial plunger. He will indeed push the plunger, but simultaneous to that, there is a crew trailer down at the ground level, Emery and Carmen, that has the officials in it that will actually push the buttons. They have backup buttons, much like the fireworks here at 4th of July time. In case the computerized buttons don't work, they can push them manually. And they have set in that building at different levels, the first and the second basement level. I'm told about the 5th floor, the 16th floor, and the 22nd floor, strategically placed 2,900 pounds of explosives so that the building will implode, one end falling toward the other, and by its very sheer weight pulling it down, they will then blow the basement, all of that occurring within 8 seconds.
We will. Go ahead, Carmen.
I was just going to ask Chuck, we couldn't have better weather for this, could we? Could we have asked for better weather, Chuck?
Oh, you're not kidding. We have exactly the kind of weather they would have wanted. No rain. The wind, of course, blowing in a direction toward this rooftop, but that's not the concern that they have.
We are going to see, Chuck, a series of flashes starting at the southwest corner, which will be visible for about 9.6 seconds. So let's listen now.
Everybody, here we go. It's 10, 9, 8, 7, 6.
Dennis.
Fire.
Emery, Carmen, can you hear me?
We hear you, Chuck.
You can actually see from our camera's vantage point here this dust cloud actually streaming across the street. I've never seen anything like this before. It looks like a snowstorm coming right at us. Can you see that across that parking deck?
It's almost like a volcanic dust.
It really is, and it is literally coming right at people on this rooftop. They've now just realized that this is moving in our direction. They are heading for the vestibules and the elevator. Unfortunately, the elevator isn't going to help. This is going to be like sheer darkness in just minutes. I'm literally across the street from this cloud, which is now approaching us, and so much like hunkering down in a bunker, I'm going to get down at a certain level and put on my mask.
Before we lose contact with you, Chuck, based on what we can see here, it appears that it was a success. We don't see anything that would indicate that there were any problems at all. Can you determine that? Are you in the cloud?
Well, I'm in the cloud right now, Emery. As a matter of fact, I could tell as it was going down, all I saw the very last thing was that flagpole, which I was surprised they even left standing, but I saw that come down, so I would assume, being the very top of the building, that it is indeed down.
We have many camera angles to show you. We're going to replay this event. Carmen, I don't know about you, but sitting here, I got goosebumps watching this from here. It was terribly exciting from here in the studio. We can only imagine what it was like out there.
And at first, you know, you looked at it, you heard the explosions, the various explosions, and then you waited. And you waited in first, and I know you said, and at first everybody says, it's not going down. And I said, oh, yes, it is. And you started to see it fall just one by one. And Rod, I don't know what it looks like up from there, but we've got a wonderful shot of that cloud of dust that used to be the Hudson's building. How was it for you?
Well, it was fascinating, Carmen, because we describe it almost as the monster that ate the Hudson's building, because the building just sat there. We could see some flashes. Then you could see the dust sort of wafting out of the bottom of the building, and then the dust cloud came up, and the building fell into the middle of the dust cloud. And now, as you can see, that dust cloud is going all over the city, and you literally cannot see anything in the downtown area. The entire downtown area is covered with a very thick, gray, fine smoke. And the wind, though it's blowing, is not blowing it very far or very fast. So it's all sort of coming down, and it's just amazing to watch from up here. We cannot even see where the rubble is right now because it is all masked in smoke. In fact, the smoke now is going over toward the Rensen, and that is almost obscured now by the smoke as well. A fascinating sight. We had been told to expect the dust, but I don't think anybody thought we were going to see this much.
60 million pounds of debris that fall in one pile, Chuck.
I'm here with you, Emery.
We were just talking about the dust and mentioning that this is 660 million pounds of debris. There you are.
I'm here.
How are you?
I'm fine. I'm actually kneeling down behind maybe a 3.5-foot concrete riser off the side of the top deck of this parking garage. The sunglasses are not here to make me look like Magnum PI. That was to help keep the debris out of my eyes. We've put on our masks that have helped with the debris. You can see some of the sunshine trying to come through now. It appears the debris is now floating through here. We literally have a good, 32nd, 16th of an inch of debris and dust that has covered every single bit of our equipment. You can see here it looks like we've been involved in an immediate snowstorm, and it is still spreading. A lot of folks made their way down through the vestibule, but even if they walked out at the ground level, you saw that cloud coming at us with great speed, and so I think that everybody who was here is basically breathing the same thing we are.
Unbelievable. Do they have any idea how long it's going to take that cloud to dissipate?
It seems to me, Carmen, right now I'm seeing a little blue sky through the top that we're actually getting a little bit of a break here, but we'll replay a sky cam shot here for you to show you exactly what was happening as this building imploded, and that here it is. This is the replay now, and you'll see that cloud of dust just spread right out. And indeed, the owner of this company, whose name is Jack, told me that he knew that this rooftop was going to be ground zero for the direction of the dust. Look at that.
Oh, my gosh.
And you're hearing crowd reaction, people certainly cheering. And this took a lot of work. I mean, they just couldn't go in there, Emery, and set those that massive amount of exposures. They actually had to chisel into the building and to weaken that building because it really was built never to come down.
Put a lot of explosives down on the ground floors, and the building in effect collapses upon itself. Let's go to Roger Weber. Roger is in Cadillac Square. We hear you. Go ahead, Roger.
You can actually see from our camera's vantage point here this dust cloud actually streaming across the street. I've never seen anything like this before. It looks like a snowstorm coming right at us. Can you see that across that parking deck?
Yeah, that's Chuck.
That's Chuck.
That's Chuck, Roger.
Chuck, hold off a second. We want to go to Roger. Roger, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Roger, let's go to Roger. Roger, tell us what you saw and what's going on at your vantage point.
Well, Emery, I think I know how the people of Pompeii felt in 79 AD. I feel like it was Mount Vesuvius that blew right by us. You could see the, we're going to have some tape we're going to go to now. Here you go. Now, when the explosive started on that southwest side of the building, we could feel the concussion over here. It was like it was slapping you right in the chest. And there we go toward the tower on the north side, and down it went. But what I did not expect was that dust cloud being that intense. You see, it just started coming our way. When that dust cloud finally hit us, it was absolutely pitch black at our location. I'm so glad I had this.
My name's Phil.
I'm so glad that I had this dust mask on because it is really intense here. Finally, the sun came back out, and we can start to see again. People are moving around, and
Roger,
let me see if I can take a breath now.
Okay,
Yeah,
Roger, can
yeah.
you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
I'm gonna take
Now
this off.
now we get an idea of why the city asked people not to come downtown to
Exactly.
watch this and stand on the street. I mean, because they would have gotten completely covered
Exactly.
with that kind of debris.
Now you can watch much more of that video from the day right now over on Local 4's YouTube page. Well, it's 9:41. A judge will decide if there is enough evidence to send a former Detroit man to trial for sexual assault. We're digging into the suspect's work history and what we are learning about his past when we come back. Welcome back. Is there enough evidence for a former nurse to stand trial for sexual assault charges? Wilfredo Figueroa Barrios is accused of sexually assaulting 2 women within the span of 3 months. The most recent allegation happened while on the job. Before, he also allegedly attacked a woman in a porta potty. Shante Passmore has what we are learning about this 47-year-old's work history.
Good morning. The cases that will be heard in court later today involve 2 victims. However, we are learning more people are coming forward detailing some disturbing allegations. And the question for many of them, why was he allowed to continue to work? This morning, at least 5 alleged victims are sharing their story. However, Michigan sexual assault attorneys believe there could be hundreds. The latest case, Wilfredo Figueroa Barrios accused of drugging a patient before assaulting her while at work.
Perhaps the worst thing here is the amount of evidence showing him to have been a known predator.
The 47-year-old former nurse also faces allegations of performing an unnecessary procedure at Sinai Grace in July.
She was drugged with a type of sedative, and then she was assaulted over some time that we believe to be upwards of an hour.
But attorneys are not just going after the former nurse, but also the hospital, following similar lawsuits filed recently by Fledlaw and Feigerlaw.
We think that the evidence that they knew, or at a minimum should have known, and prevented this, we think it's going to be absolutely insurmountable for Sinai Grace.
But Sinai Grace claims they did a background check, saying in part there was no indication of a concern during that process. Local 4 investigators dive into Figueroa Barrios' background. Online records show he became a nurse in 2012. In 2019, police arrested him for assault in Wayne, but no charges were filed. In 2020 and 2021, he faced sexual misconduct allegations at a Livonia medical facility and was fired, according to attorneys. He was then hired by Sinai Grace. And from 2024 to 2025, he allegedly assaulted 5 more people. Attorneys now asking for others to come forward.
We want every survivor to have their story told.
Attorneys also believe they have enough evidence showing that the hospital knew about the former nurse's behaviors as early as 2018. In the meantime, he is expected back at court at 1 p.m. later this afternoon. We're in downtown Detroit. I'm Shantae Passmore, Local 4.
Shantae, thank you. The man accused of killing and sexually assaulting 13-year-old Naziah Harris was back in court, this time on new charges. No cameras were allowed in the courtroom yesterday, but Jarvis Butts is now accused of sexually assaulting a young relative at a Detroit auto shop. Prosecutors say his history of child sexual abuse dates back to 2013 in Allen Park. Butts will be arraigned in this new sexual assault case on October 29th. An Ohio-based auto supplier is shutting down its Auburn Hills plant, cutting 200 jobs. Dana Incorporated says falling demand for electric vehicles forced the closure of its Giddings Road facility. The company says customer orders dropped so suddenly that keeping the plant open was not viable. The layoffs began this month and will continue through January. The plant has been touted as a key investment in EV battery cooling systems. Well, Michigan spirits are raising the bar. USA Today naming several distilleries among the best in the country, including one that's up in Traverse City, pouring in some big national recognition. We're going to show you which distillery is making the list and where you can grab a glass. Welcome back, everybody. A live look at Traverse City right now. One Up North distillery there getting recognition for being one of the best in the United States, according to USA Today. The Traverse City Whiskey Company is 3rd best in the country for Best Spirits Tasting Room. It's also ranked number 7 for Best Craft Whiskey. That's not the only Michigan distillery named among the best, though. Granner Farm in Three Oaks is 6th best craft gin maker in the U.S., and Long Road Distillers in Grand Rapids is ranked 8th for Best Craft Specialty Spirits. Say that 3 times fast. All right, I will talk more about the forecast, though, 3 times over, because it's looking pretty good today, and Ashley says Halloween could be pretty good as well.
Now, forewarned weather with Exact Track 4D.
Well, after a relatively dry start to the day, rain chances increase through the afternoon, and we're still going to be trending below average with low 50s in the forecast for today. So just like yesterday, another cool, kind of damp day, but it won't be quite as much of a widespread washout like we had yesterday, but we do remain breezy. So let's talk about the winds first. Those gusts will be around 20 miles per hour, but they do begin to taper off closer to midnight. So tomorrow, not quite as brisk as it will be today. Now, the rain chances not as widespread as I just mentioned, but they'll be a little more scattered. I would say after 2 o'clock all the way till about 8. That's going to be the window that you're dodging some off and on rain chances. So putting all this into motion for you, 3:30 is where we'll stop the clock, and this begins to move in from the northwest, pushing across the area where we do have the scattered variety. But by 8, it's moved out of here. We'll peel back those clouds throughout the overnight, and that'll allow temperatures to slide tonight, where a lot of folks will likely be waking up to some patchy frost. That's because temperatures fall tonight into the 30s, 35 degrees for the overnight low. So you might be turning on that heat tonight if you haven't done so with the clearing skies. Winds will be out of the west, 5 to 10 miles per hour. And that's not going to be our only 30-degree night ahead as we're in this cooler snap. So tomorrow, right at sunrise, about 35 degrees. That's always our coolest time of the day. And we have mostly clear skies that will have a little increase in clouds as the day rolls on, but 51 around 3 o'clock in the afternoon tomorrow. And then as we get into the evening, we fall into the 40s under partly cloudy skies. And so for Saturday, well, it's going to be a cool game as well. So if you're going to Spartan Stadium for a 7:30 kickoff, we'll be in the upper 40s for kickoff, low 40s by game's end, increasing cloud cover. At least we're dry for tailgating and for the game, but you need to bundle up. Because of it being a night game, it's going to be a cool night. Halloween countdown, 8 days away until we're at Halloween, and we get closer and closer with the models that we're looking at. And so a little bit of a change for today, looking ahead to Halloween, and that is a drier change. And so we did have a little bit of moisture in the forecast yesterday at this time, but taking those moisture chances out of there and hopefully trending dry in 50s for your Halloween, but we'll continue to fine tune that over the next 8 days. 10 days away from falling back. So not this weekend, but next weekend. We'll get an extra hour of sleep. We're counting down to the tree lighting in downtown Detroit that you'll be able to see right here on Local 4, 29 days away. Thanksgiving, of course, the parade here on Local 4, 35 days away. And if you still have Christmas shopping to do, which most people do, you have time, but 63 days until Christmas. So your 7-day forecast shows that we start the drier stretch Friday. We take it all the way through the weekend, and we will be in more seasonal territory by Sunday and into early next week, 57 degrees. And so if you're going to be grabbing maybe a bite to eat before heading to the Pistons game, either Sunday or Monday, we have those drier conditions in Detroit, but cool. And then a chance for showers will begin to build into the forecast by the middle of next week, as we will still be hovering in the 50s.
Ashley, thank you much. A quick reminder about our games of the week, games plural, moving to Saturday night. It's a doubleheader coming to you from Ford Field. First, it is the CHSL Prep Bowl Championship between Allen Park Cabrini and Ann Arbor Father Gabriel Richard at 4:30. And then Detroit Catholic Central meeting up with Detroit Martin Luther King at 7:30. You can catch the Local 4 games of the week presented by State Champs Game Time Live, brought to you by Hungry Howie's on Local 4 Plus, and click on Detroit.com. Woo! Also Saturday night, it's the 73rd battle for the Paul Bunyan Trophy. This year it's in East Lansing. The 5-2 Michigan Wolverines will visit the 3-4 MSU Spartans underneath those lights. We're going to get you ready for that rivalry game with the pregame show starting at 6:30. When we come back, we're going to check in with Tati and Kim from Live in the D to see what's happening on Live in the D when Live in the D happens live from the D. 9:55. There it is on your Thursday morning. A live look outside of beautiful downtown Detroit. Some blue sky, some clouds overhead as we look over here. And if you can't see it still. We got to move that camera. Further right of the RenCen is going to be the brand new Ralph C. Wilson Centennial Park opening this weekend. We are going to show you more about how that park came to be and everything it has to offer when you watch Local 4 Live tomorrow, live from the park on Local 4 Live. But guess what? It's not just us out there. Live in the D is going to be live from Ralph C. Wilson Centennial Park. Have to practice it a couple times.
Yeah, Ralph C. Wilson Centennial Park. Listen, when you were at game day, he did that flawlessly. I was like, geez, Nick.
It's been a week of practice. Tati.
Yeah, well done.
On Monday, it did not sound as good.
Well done.
I'm excited for tomorrow's shows. We'll be out there. You'll be out. Everyone's out there, right?
Oh my goodness. I mean, I'm excited not just for the shows, but for this park to open. This is like a kid's heaven.
Now, what do I have to do to get the two of you to go down the new slide with me?
Not much.
Exactly.
I'm
Just
gladly going to do that.
Just ask. Just say. All right, but we have
ask.
another show happening today before tomorrow's show.
That's right.
I don't want to discredit today's show because I'm sure it's great as well.
Oh,
It's going to be great.
Thursday is actually my favorite day for Live in the D. Like the most you should watch because we talk about what's going on this weekend all throughout Metro Detroit, and especially this time of the year with all of the Halloween events, you definitely want to be in the know.
I was convinced you were going to say it's the day where all the food is. That's your favorite.
Well, we love those days too.
Yeah. Because like, wait a minute.
We do.
I changed
But
my
April
vote.
goes through a lot, and she compiles the best of the best that's happening over the weekend for what's happening
It's a
around
good
the
like
D.
user's guide. Like, what are we doing?
Oh
this
yeah,
weekend?
and then you can just like be in the know. I like being in the know about
Same
all the
here.
events going on.
Yeah.
Even if you don't go to them.
Exactly. It's like, oh yeah, that was happening
Yeah.
this weekend.
Right.
Yeah,
That'd be
okay.
cool. Right.
Exactly.
I also am excited to talk about this conversation. So this is something that Gen Zers are doing. They get asked out on a date. They're not interested in the significant other person. What they really want, what do they really want?
They want a free meal.
Amen.
This is a tale as old as time.
Wait a minute. So you're telling me that more ladies now are saying yes to the date just for the free food?
Look, times are tough. And
for the guys too. No.
Hey, join us on Live in the D at 11 a.m. We're talking about this.
Make it a great Thursday, everybody.
Today on Live in the D, financial pressures are changing the way singles are dating.
It begs the question, is love really on the menu, or is the date just an opportunity for a free meal? We'll break down a quirky new trend in dating.
Plus, pumpkin spice season is here, and one local bakery is serving up something special. We'll get a hands-on look at a fun interactive pie demonstration.
And we're going to show you how you can save thousands of dollars on a new roof.
Which is awesome. It's all coming up today on Live in the D at 11 a.m.
Well, that fall chill is still staying in the air today, and you might need to grab your umbrella this afternoon as we'll have some rain chances returning throughout the afternoon and early evening. We remain on the cool side with lows below average, a high of 53, and we stay in the low 50s tomorrow before we start to tick upward and get into more seasonal territory by the time we get to the weekend. That 7-day temperature trend will take us into the upper 50s early next week, and we start a drier stretch tomorrow through the weekend as well, so enjoy some fall activities this weekend.